Going through change here in the YouTube channel naming again. Um, I'm going to the roots. I've had a B1 emulate Christ and prosper. I want to go to the root. The root is to emulate Christ. The reason behind that is the simplification. Simplify, simplify, simplify. So I'm going to dive into a James Allen quote. Let's pull that up real quickly. And while I'm pulling it up, I want to make mention. James Allen's my favorite author by far, and I just love the wisdom that he shares, and I love the witness that his wife Lily Allen gave of him, in that she said that he didn't write about theory; he actually lived and experienced, came to know something, and then taught on it. I love that notion. So we're diving into today's quote, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about emulating Christ and the significance of that. Essentially, I like to help dads to learn how to emulate him, and that includes discovering your purpose, discovering your talents, and how you can share those with the world. So this one is, yeah, this is a good one. Okay. Just looking for, am I sharing the screen here? I'm not. All right. Okay, so what your thoughts are, that is your real self. In his most popular book, James Allen says that character is the sum of all of your thoughts. And that's the first chapter, the first paragraph, the first chapter. And that's so powerful that we need to develop character. And that's what your thoughts are, is the sum of all of your thoughts are your character. So carrying on with what he says here, the world around, both animate and inanimate, wears the aspect with which your thoughts clothe it. I've heard another author say that our words are our thoughts clothed. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. Alan continues, it is found in our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. And he's quoting, thus saith Buddha. And therefore follows that if a man is happy, it is because he dwells in happy thoughts. If miserable, because he dwells in despondent and debilitating thoughts. Whether one be fearful or fearless, foolish or wise, troubled or serene, within that soul lies the cause of its own state or states, and never without. And now I seem to hear a chorus of voices exclaim, but do you really mean to say that outward circumstances do not affect our minds? I do not say that, but I say this, and know it to be infallibly truth, that circumstances can only affect you in so far as you allow them to do so. You are swayed by circumstances because you have not the right understanding of nature, use, and power of thought. So, what are we talking about here? We're talking about transforming who you are. And the world will say that you need to change your circumstances, like move the child from one side of the tracks to the other, and then they will change. You put them in better circumstances, and then they will be better. That may be the case on some occasions, but it's not always the case. But however, when one comes unto Christ, when comes to know him, and comes unto him, he's going to see his weakness. He's going to see his shortcomings. He's going to see the things that need to be changed, the circumstances that need to be changed. And what does he do? He learns to master the stewardships and the gifts and the things, circumstances he's in right now. And then he transforms them, because he continues to come unto Christ, who then gives him power to turn that weakness to a strength, power to be more than he can on his own. And as he does that, his circumstances begin to transform. But again, it's all an inner job. You got to cleanse the inner vessel, and then the outer vessel starts to follow. So for 20, I don't know, 23 years, I, um, actually, let me take that back. In 1993, I turned my life over to the Lord because I knew He could make more of me than I thought I could do on my own. And it was amazing. The first several years of that was just phenomenal. It was an outburst of energy, an outburst of love. And I thought I was invincible. I thought I was on top of the world. But that all came crashing down when I was woke up in the state hospital, having been diagnosed with mental illness. And what led to that was an arrest on a temple of a church, the church I belonged to. And I was then incarcerated. And while I was there, I was given some food and I passed out. And I woke up almost 2 weeks later and having been court ordered to the state hospital because while I was out of it, I was literally spitting on people and things, and they put a mask on me so that I wouldn't spit on the judge. And I don't remember this. I remember vaguely remember being before the judge, but I didn't remember a mask until someone told me. And and then I woke up several days later in having been forced to the ground and had medicine put in my behind. So this opened the door to like, aha, like what in the world? Maybe I'm not invincible. And it helped me to discover that I had a weakness. As a son of God, I knew my divine potentiality, and I had tapped into His power, but I wasn't steady. I had the highs and the lows. I wasn't steady. I wasn't firm. I had such highs, and I'd go, and then I'd crash and wanted to sleep for a while. And I needed to become, here's the key word here, humble. Humble precedes real power. So for 23 years, I struggled with this. And once I was diagnosed with this and started taking the medicine, I ballooned in weight. I went from 200 to 260 pounds in 9 months. And it shocked me. It was overwhelming. I took a 3-year sabbatical after that. And in that 3-year sabbatical, I stopped dating. I stopped, and I stopped going to school. I just worked. And I got a job as a courier eventually, and I just pounded the books, looking for the answer. Why me? Did I do something wrong? Did I mess up? Did I make a mistake? Is there something that I did? And 3 years into this sabbatical, if you will, sabbatical from dating and schools, the idea came to my mind. The idea was, Kent, you have been given this challenge not because of a curse. And the idea came to my mind because I read a quote, actually. But what I learned from that quote was that I was given that challenge not as a curse, but as an invitation to be humble. Here's the quote. Often an invitation. Hey, son, please don't bump the table. Appreciate it, buddy. Often an invitation to greater consecration comes by means of painful personal experience. And believe you me, 3 years of having excess weight gain and having been diagnosed with my greatest fear of mental illness, I was feeling the painful personal experience. And as a result of that, when I heard those words, my mind was expanded, and I thought, wow. So the question of what did I do? What's wrong with me? Blah, blah, blah. Why am I given this? Is it a curse? Is it me? Is it God? What is this? What is this? What is this? It was an invitation to be better. More importantly, it was an invitation to be humble. Humility precedes miracles. Humility precedes the divine hand of God to transform your life. So after that experience, I was like, wow, I got to go back to school. Wow, I got to start dating again. Wow. Regardless of my excess weight and my baggage, I was like, oh, let's do this. And within a couple months, had moved back to the county where the school I was going to previously was at, and had enrolled in school, still kept the courier job, and started going to school part-time. And literally within 3 months, I'd say 3, 4 months, I started dating girls that, no, that was a huge revelation too, is that I had this idea of like my list of 30 things that I wanted in a future spouse was chiseled down to 5. And I started dating girls like this. Like one of those 5 things is someone who's service oriented. So I started dating girls that I had met in service projects, and it was amazing. I started having relationships last longer than 30 days. And my third relationship that was longer than 30 days was my wife to be. And so this happened, I want to say like spring of spring of 2003, and June of 2003, I met my wife to be, who in November of 2023, we got married, and we've been married over 20 years. So within, I don't know, 6 months, less than a year, I went from not dating for 3 years, being faced with my greatest fear, to and taking a sabbatical from school, to being back in school, back to dating, having longer relationships than 30 days, and meeting my wife to be, and getting married. And my whole life was transformed. Why? Because I chose to be humble. And why did that happen? Because a loving God compelled me to that humility. And as a result of that, it was an invitation for me to be better, an invitation for me to rely on him and to receive his help. So for the next 23 years, I had that excess weight. I tried 2 or 3 times to trim down and go off the medicine under doctor's supervision, and relapsed. Boom, back to court order, back to the state hospital, back to being medicated again. And it was really challenging, really tough. But in May of 2023, I took things to the next level when, I should say the Lord took things to the next level, because it'd been about 18 months of me trying to trim down on my own with the medicine. And finally, I woke up from a dream, and the still small voice said to me, "Do you really want to trim down?" And I trimmed down from 288 to 254. And then I said, "Yes, I do." And it said, "Turn your body to me, to the Lord Jesus Christ, and I will fill in the gaps. Hold yourself accountable for what you know, and live what you know, and I'll fill in the gaps." Within 5 weeks, I went from 254 to 230, 228-ish. And lo and behold, I could start exercising daily without pulling a calf, without pulling an ankle or twisting a knee, without running out of gas. I could actually do more than just walk. I could start jog, walk, run, walk. Eventually, within 6 months, in November 2023, my wife and I, after working out 6 days a week for several months, ran a Spartan race, 5Ks, a 5K, 20 obstacles, and 120 burpees, which turned out to be 4 miles with including penalty runs. I did it, and I walked away from the program. So why am I telling you all this? Because I gave my life to the Lord at 18, and at 48, I gave him my body. And at 49, I gave him my business. And here I am at 50, and I finally figured out what I want to do with my life. I want to give back. I want to share, because I have been given so much. And I'm inviting you, as dads in particular, to turn to the Lord, humble yourself, allow him to work in you so that you can emulate him with your own personality, with your own gifts, with your own talents, and he will transform you, every whit of you, from the inside out. So turn to him, emulate him, and allow him to work in you so that you can be the best version of you. Even more than that, be better than the best version of you, because you've tapped into his power. Because if you don't have his power, you can be a good and honorable man of the earth, which is wonderful, which takes willpower and discipline. But to be the next level, better than the good and honorable man of the earth, to be more like Abba, more like the Father, it takes the grace of Christ. And this is it's been a privilege working with you today. So a call to action is check out my my linked bio page. It's you can go to disciplesprosper.com, or yeah, you can go to disciplesprosper.com, and that will show you all the different avenues that I'm producing content on, including a newer avenue that I've added that shows how I generate income so that I can produce this content and be free with the faith substance that I have. Thanks for joining me.